Yeah, so that was always the running joke, though, whenever, like, I was on Paul's YouTube videos. It
Mhm.
was like, he sniffs so much. Is he fucking coked out all the time? I was like, motherfucker, you think I got daytime coke money? Like, like, what do you think this shit is? I don't even have nighttime coke money. What's wrong with you?
That's really good. You think I have daytime Coke money? That's
You got to be fucking balling to have
yep.
daytime coke
I
money
mean, I
and
don't
just not.
know what the
Yeah.
going rate for that cocaine is, but I would assume
It's about 350.
a day?
It's from
No,
South
he's
Park.
making a joke. It's South Park. It's a Loch Ness
I was
monster.
like, Jesus, what do these people do for a living?
She's a pretty lady, Phil. She doesn't know these fucking gamer dork references.
Yeah, no. I mean, I watched a little South Park growing up.
You got to watch that goddamn Loch Ness monster.
And that was more my brother's generation, who's 3 years younger than me. I was more The Simpsons, Beavis and Butthead. That was my shit growing up.
Oh, I can't believe Marge Simpson died.
On the
Remember-
show or in real life?
Well, in real life, the woman who voices her died. So I thought they were also going to write her off. I've not watched that show in like 10 plus
It's gonna be
years.
weird if they just replace her voice.
So, by the way, how fucking wild is it that, like, when we were growing up, Beavis and Butthead and, like, The Simpsons were, like, the shows you weren't supposed to watch because they were bad and they were going to ruin you and all this other shit?
My family didn't care.
I mean, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it was that thing, and they're like, oh, no, not this. And you'd be like,
Ren and Stimpy, they just like bang their butts together all the time.
And then
Hell
you
yeah,
had
man.
Rocco's Modern Life, where it turned out he worked in a sex hotline.
and his name was Heifer.
See, this is why we are the way we are. We didn't have Elsa and Anna. We had, not that you two would have watched that, but
Oh, I definitely would not watch that shit.
I have an older sister. I shouldn't say had, but I have an older sister. So Little Mermaid, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. Actually, I'm named after the prince from Sleeping Beauty because they let my sister name me.
oh, Philip. Oh,
I
that's
would have named you Butthead.
cute, Phil.
Yeah, if I had to redo my name though, it would be Ragnar Magnar because it's
This sounds dumb.
well, it's Viking, okay, and it literally means great conqueror.
Yeah,
I
you
mean-
tell yourself that because that's exactly what as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah.
Great Conqueror. That's exactly it.
Yeah,
So, my name, I think, is pretty fucking baller because it's Stephen Richard Beaugrand, and Beaugrand in French means beautiful and large. And we all know it's short for Richard. Yeah.
Oh, between the two of
Oh.
you. So I have nothing cool like that. My name, anybody listening, and you two idiots, when we get off here, just put my name spelled the correct way, Kaylee, into Spotify and listen to the 80s song that my name and the spelling came from. It is the lamest song you will ever listen to in your entire life. You're welcome. I don't
I
have
thought something more was coming there. You're like, in your entire
no,
life.
that's it. Like just some really weird 80s song. That's my name. Not Big Conqueror, not Big Beautiful Dick, nothing.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
I heard ellipsis like in your voice, just like there. I was waiting for a continuance.
okay.
Fucking
I'm gonna need a little more help because I mean I got a black belt in like Google Foo and searching and everything, and all I get is like Kaylee by Cooper Ramsey. Is that it?
Probably.
Now
There's
she's
only
gonna-
one song.
Now
Like,
she
I
has
haven't
to
listened to
search
it
it.
in a while.
Well,
no,
'cause there's
Marilyn. Marillon.
one more. What? Maro. Okay.
All right. We can't play it because of copyright rules, I'm sure, but it has to be under a certain
Who
amount
wants
of time.
to lose a couple minutes of their life?
Found it. Can't wait.
Can't wait. All right.
So yeah, so I guess we're going to talk about training today.
Makes sense. We kind of do that.
Skoden.
Yeah. So I was listening to did a podcast on Huberman.
Mhm.
I was not surprised by anything he said. I was like, okay, I've heard him say all these things before multiple times. It wasn't anything really new there, but it was fucking 3 hours.
Oh,
I was like,
that was
man.
a long listen.
Like, we have to know at least 30% of what Brett knows. So we can do an hour on this shit easy.
Oh, yeah, 3 hours. I'm out. I'll leave it running.
Yeah,
Dude, it took me days to get through that podcast.
yeah, that's the like pro and con for Huberman for me is I love how deep that he gets. That's what she said. But it's like, okay, give me like 45 minutes to like an hour and 15 minutes is like my sweet spot. I want to listen to it and finish it during my workout. If it's spilling into multiple days, I'm kind of like, oh shit. What happened on the last one?
I mean, I think that for me, I feel like most people get lost when it's that much. It's that deep. It's that, we'll say, intricate. Most people don't give a fuck about something like neck training. Let's be real. And I don't even care about it. I'm like, why would I train my neck? I might do jujitsu stuff. I'll get like some stuff there maybe, but
Yeah.
like, I don't really need to train my neck. I would argue against that. I know a lot of the fighters and that stuff, maybe there's some use for it in terms of like plum grips and like Muay Thai, jujitsu, grappling, those kind of things. But
Yeah.
you know what else fucking gets it stronger? Doing those things and fighting people with that stuff.
I was gonna make a joke, but I'm gonna leave out any jokes about strengthening my neck and why I don't need to.
Oh.
As a female, we got pretty good necks.
You're married. You don't need to do any neck training anymore.
I know that is true. That is true. I'm probably quite out of practice, honestly.
That's how you get injured. Okay,
And that's how that is. Can't be going in just raw without warming up.
Jesus. This has fucking devolved quickly.
This has hurt. I told you we could have talked about D's, but you didn't want to.
Well, I mean, for training, are we talking butt stuff or what?
I think, like, well, let's talk fucking just everything.
It's in.
If we're going to go glute focus, I mean...
Jesus, this took a turn.
I mean, I think the glute focus makes sense for us because we work with mostly women. I don't know, Phil, what your clientele base looks like now, but for a long time, there was a lot of women there. And so when you're in the fitness industry and you work with women, the big thing for the past fucking 10 years plus has been big old glutes. And so that's kind of like the name of the game of what most women care about for, hey, if I want to change my physique, I want a bigger butt.
I think Sir Mix-a-Lot dropped that song now. I mean, it was huge anyway, but he was on to something.
You know what was crazy was whenever that song was dropped, like the big thing for fitness and like beauty standards was like have a small butt. It was like an insult to be like, she's got such a big butt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How the turntables.
Wow, they turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think almost every client that I onboard, one of their goals is bigger glutes. I've never had somebody be like, I would like to make my butt smaller.
But that used to be a thing in the 90s, which is, and I know people who are now, and if any kids are listening to us or 20-year-olds, whatever, like, the fuck you talking about? Like, dudes used to be like, oh my God, look how flat her butt is. She's so hot. And I growing up in the 90s would be like, what are you talking about, man? Like, they just want back into legs.
Right. Dudes
Yeah.
are trying to post up at the IHOP, just looking for pancakes.
Yeah, and hips were not in. I remember when I was 18 or 19, I was at work and I was walking in front of a gentleman and he was like, oh, you got baby making hips. But like it was a bad thing. And I was like, I just remember thinking like, what does that mean? And I feel like whatever you meant is in a bad way.
But you have made 2 babies, so I guess.
I mean, he wasn't wrong. I guess.
What an aggressive.
I know. I was just like, and I was young, at 18, you're just like, what the creep?
So I think what they're referring to there is the idea that you have wider hips. And the idea is that the babies can escape into the world more easily because you have the wider
I
hips.
did only push 3 times to get the kids out. I don't know how people labor for hours, but I was like, let's get this out of here. I was trying to make a record with Henry and get it out in 2 pushes instead of 3 like Pearl, but it came out to the same.
Yeah. So Nikki was in labor both times for well over 12 hours. Like with Jesse, it was, I think, 18. But what I learned was there is a difference between just like, hey, you're in labor versus active labor. Because for
you're not
Ellie,
pushing for
Ellie,
I mean,
active
some women
labor,
do push for hours, I've heard.
I can't imagine that. Nikki with Ellie, it was like 20 minutes of active labor, and Jesse, it was so fast that there wasn't time for another doctor to come from another floor to
Yep.
catch him. So it was me. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
You
So,
reverse Kamehameha him?
You are a Viking.
I mean, you could go Kamehameha, you could go it's morphin time. Me, I played center in football, so it was like reversing the roles, like blue 42, huh?
Love it. Love it.
Omaha, Omaha.
All right. So question, because we didn't talk about this before we started. Did you have your blind exercise bullshit ready for us for glute stuff, Phil? I'm gonna
Yes,
guess
yes,
no. Oh
yes,
shit,
I
he
did.
does.
Yes, of course. Like
All
Boy
right.
Scout, always prepare.
So let's do that, and let's do blind ranks for butt stuff, and then we'll like go from there.
Okay,
I
so
feel like you
I'm
shouldn't start with butt stuff though. Like that's where you should finish. Yeah, it should never be the first.
Okay.
You fucking face.
Not sanitary. Make sure you
so
always wipe down your equipment.
I love the advice on here. All right, so first one that comes up. So we're in a blind rank.
How many options are there so I know how to rank these?
All right, so I asked it for 10.
Oh, that's too much. We gotta drop it down to 5.
Drop down to 5. Okay.
And we just screwed up Phil's whole thing.
No, you're all good. All right. So the first one to come up, it's randomizing. Bum, ba-da-dum. All right. The first one to come up is step ups.
Ooh. I like step ups, but I don't program a ton of them.
Yeah, it's always because the setup's weird.
Not even just the setup. I feel like people use a lot of see, this is a good opportunity where we can talk about this. Like a lot of people do them in a way where they get a lot of body movement and
They push off
momentum
that
going
back
into them.
leg, yeah.
So it almost kills the point to some degree for them.
Yeah, that's usually one where if someone sends a training video on that, I'm like, slow down and stop using that back leg to push off the floor.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's where most people mess up with those for glutes in particular is they're using that back leg to kind of push off instead of really, I guess, almost pulling themselves up and forward with just the plant leg.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will try and go too high on the step up a lot of the time too, I feel like, which only makes that worse.
Yeah. I'm going to rank that one as 5th. Like we're doing them in our order, right?
Okay.
Because I know for me personally, I don't feel a ton of activation on those. Like they're not my favorite for activating the glutes.
I'm going to go with 4 just because I'm not quite committed to putting them fit. I think they can be really good, but it really takes a lot of intentionality with them.
Yeah.
And it takes that patience and the ability to not ego lift with them and really just keep the weight light. If you
Yeah,
need to.
I'm gonna go 4 out of strategy because I do like the movement for the right person, that they're coachable, they're doing it with the right form, they're taking their time with going super, super slow on the descent, but it's awkward to set up. And
I think they're best with experienced lifters.
yeah, you've got to be fairly experienced, and you've got to also just have the space for it. Like the last thing I'd want is somebody in a super, super crowded gym trying to wait for a bench at like peak hours. And then there's a bunch of people walking behind them, somebody not paying attention. So that stuff always factors in for me. So I'll go 4.
Let me say this. I do think that they can be really good for like older individuals who are trying to keep balance and strength and those kind of
Yeah.
things where they don't need to be a glute exercise and you
Yeah.
just use like the step up boxes and stuff. Same thing like for if somebody's really, really out of shape, like sit to stands can be a good exercise for them. So like for not the same population, but closer to that population, I do think they can be pretty awesome. But then it's not a glute specific movement. We're not talking butt stuff anymore.
Right. It's more functional.
Yeah.
All right. So we got the step up here. The next one. Ooh. All right. Bulgarian split squats.
Ooh, I love these.
I do program a lot of
Me too.
Bulgarians.
And I love them for myself because you can really good, if you can really get that foot right where it needs to be in the front, you can get some good glute. That might be one of my top, honestly. That
Because
and reverse lunges.
I was gonna say, I also like that, the Bulgarian split squat, it's super versatile. You can get a little extra depth out of it with like a 2x4. Kind of like I saw you doing the
Yeah.
reverse lunge with the
Yeah.
2x4, just get a little bit more depth.
Jake made that for me.
So my only problem with this is that it can, similar to the step up, for someone who's not a super experienced lifter, it's not one that I would program in.
Yeah, I never, if somebody hasn't trained in a while or ever, I do not put it in the first training program.
I love it for the versatility. I love it that you can shift the focus if you wanted to, but if we're just talking
Yeah.
specifically for glutes, I think because you have to consider someone's balance, you have to consider someone's exercise age. I'm gonna go 3 with
For
it
me, it's
just
gonna
for
go,
strategy.
that might be number 1 for me. And fun fact, Bulgarian split squats is the first thing during both of my pregnancies to cause pelvic pain. And almost every single pregnant client I've always had, that's the first movement I end up having to pull. And postpartum, it's one I can't do for a while. There's something about it that it catches that pelvic region.
So I'm gonna disagree with you. I like them for newer people too because I will use them like assisted. So you can do them in a squat
Yeah.
rack or something or with the walls to help you keep balance. You can also have the weight on just one side. If it's a single dumbbell, you can have weight on each side with double dumbbells if you need more. You can do it with a barbell if you need to. And I think that's why I'm going to put it as probably my number 1 because I think it's so versatile. And with the exception of like, I guess Kaylee's hip issue point, you don't have the same considerations of like having to go really, really heavy or load the back for something like a deadlift or a squat, where that can create other injury risk for people that I think is a bit higher. I think that they're great. You don't have to necessarily go a certain depth. You can use a 2x4. You can use a weight plate. You can wear a squat shoe with it. You cannot you can step further away or closer. So you could even, if you're really working into it and even body weight's hard, you could reverse band it to the top of the squat rack.
Really out of breath gaining too. That's probably one of the top ones where I got to sit for a minute and catch my breath after Bulgarians.
Oh, they'd murder me. They absolutely murder me. And so I think I'll say because of the stomach surgery and me not loading my back and doing a lot of Valsalva stuff anymore, I think that's probably why they would be number 1 for me because they get the job done really well. And I actually had to stop programming them for a while and really pull back because I realized I was programming them for almost fucking everybody.
Bulgarians, you get Bulgarians, you get Bulgarians.
I was Oprah in that shit.
Yeah. No, I think my thing is just holding out. Again, if we're just talking about this is a blind rank game, I'm holding out for a couple of other ones. And like if you had to ask me which one am I more likely to program between like a stationary or a reverse lunge, either stationary or split squat or reverse lunge or Bulgarian, I'm gonna lean more towards either a stationary lunge or a reverse lunge just because it's more general population. So
I'm just trying to get people to get giant glutes. That's it.
I do a lot of because I've been training mostly in my home gym, which is just essentially dumbbells and medicine balls right now. And I've been doing sets of like seven sets of Bulgarian split squats. So I'm also a little fatigued on it, if I'm honest.
That's gross. That's disgusting. So I had a client ask me for like 8 sets of a single exercise, and I just told them no.
Yeah, you need to lift heavier.
I was like, no, we're not doing that. You're welcome, by the way, but no, we're not doing that.
All right. So moving along, next one is kickbacks.
I don't love them. I don't love, and that's going to be a personal bias because I have the hardest time engaging with those. The hardest time.
I hear that one a lot.
So are we saying straight kickbacks or like medius kickbacks with like a 45-degree?
It's just saying glute kickback. So I'm going to assume standard whenever I say glute kickback, what everyone thinks of.
Straight, like the machine, which actually, to be honest, I would say I like the machine glute kickback better than the cable glute kickbacks if you're just doing a straight kickback, because I feel like it forces you to actually focus into the glute more. Yeah.
Did I already take number 5 spot?
You did. You put step up at 5.
All right, then it's going into 4 for me because I just don't love them.
I would put it at 5 for me. That's going to be my least utilized or favorite.
Yeah, I am going to make it a trio and also go kickback for my number 5. Because even with the machine, I get a lot of people that are like, hey, my quad is burning out before I'm feeling it in my glute, just because it can be a bit of an awkward setup.
Yeah, you got to get it just right, and then when you finally feel that engagement, then you start your reps. That's what I do because it just takes me a couple sometimes to get everything set just right.
That's weird. I feel like it's the easiest thing. You just get on there and just push back through your heel. Like just barely have your heel on there just enough to be stable and just fucking try and force it through the ground, you know? But still 5. I will say I program the fuck out of like glute mid, kickbacks, and 45 degrees, and like Raj's one where you really get that big stretch on it.
Yeah.
And it's more like a 45-degree kind of glute mid. I use those a lot.
Yeah, there are variants that I like, but since this is just saying glute kickback, assuming it's just straight back, because I do like the 45, or I like the cuff more like closer to the knee, and being able to really drag it behind you, create that extra range of motion.
You know,
Like,
the way my calves work, are just my legs. Maybe they're too. I've never been able to get the thing wrapped around higher by the knee.
Yeah, I use that for like we'll say cable lateral raises too, because the further away from
Love cable lateral raise.
your core that weight is attached, the harder it's going to be for you to lift it. So you're going to have to create more force to do it. So for a lot of people, if they put it all the way at their ankle, they just aren't strong enough to get the movement well and controlled. But bringing it up closer to the knee where it's going to take less force to do the movement, they're able to now control it better and do it better. And so a
Yeah,
lot
I've
of
had
people
a
do need to look at
really
that change.
nice. It wraps around my ankle, but it actually goes like my strap goes around like my foot, so it makes it stabilizes it better. I don't like it when it's just around my ankle.
oh, yours is more like a step in, like swing almost, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I love those. They definitely make kickbacks a lot easier to execute. So, all right, as the All-American Rejects sang, move along. Next we have sumo deadlifts. We've got, so Kaylee, you've got 2 and 3. So do you, Steven. I've got 1 and 2.
Oh.
That's an easy 3 for me.
Yeah, I was just gonna put it in 3 as well. I like them. I love them. I prefer traditional deadlift for myself, but if we're talking glutes, obviously you'd want to do sumo, but I'll put it in 3.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put it in my number 2 as well. Or I'm gonna put it in my number 2. Just now I'm kind of going cowboy for whatever the last one is for number 1.
I know, what do I have left? Just number 2, so no matter what the next one is. it's
Yep,
fine.
you and Steven both have 2 left. So I love the sumo deadlift for people where their limbs make sense for a sumo deadlift, because there's just as many people that they'll feel great glute activation from a conventional deadlift.
Mm-hmm. I like conventional better. That's what I do. I rarely do sumo.
So at every single retreat camp that I've done and taught at and instructed, I try to really, I think, institute into people that whether you're going to deadlift conventional or sumo really depends a lot more on just like your physiology and your biomechanics. So your bone structure, like how long your leverage is, that kind of stuff. Because if you have, like, I have good conventional deadlift leverages, but I will lose 100 to 150 pounds off my max lift by going to sumo. I can't really get into sumo great, but people who are really good at sumo, that's not the case. And you'll see some people, they can drop into it very naturally. And for me, like trying to open up my hips like that and really sit into the bar, it's tough. I think it can be a very good one. I still don't use it specifically for glutes. I use it for like somebody who's going to do powerlifting or who's really emphatic about their deadlift numbers, that maybe wants to focus a little bit more on glutes, since it's going to be a little bit more in there. But again, my downside of that is injury risk. It is a more complicated and complex lift. It takes a much more, I think, advanced lifter to be doing it very well. And so I really don't program it anymore unless people ask for it, or specifically it's like that is our lift that we have to make sure that we're doing.
Yeah, I do like it a lot for, like I said, sport specific, and I do work with a number of people that just happen to come from a powerlifting background, or they have they have a husband who does it, so that's what their home gym is set up for. So I do really like it. But again, I've heard just as many people say, well, I get great activation out of conventional, so let's go conventional. Now there's also do you guys remember, like, it was like 10 plus years ago where for a little while some of the hype was around the
Oh
hybrid
yeah,
scene?
yeah. It was because that deadlift panda dude did kind of a hybrid stance. He was in my weight category in USAPL, and he was one of the first guys in that category lifting like close to 700 for his deadlifts. And it was wild to see a dude back then, 180, fucking pulling 700 pounds. Um,
I've
and,
seen
and
Bill
so
pull 735, but he's not 190 pounds.
180,
Or
180.
damn.
Yeah, dude. So it was wild because I remember back when Chris was still doing my programming, we had switched to see how it felt to like give me a break because I was doing so much volume, and it was better than like trying to get really wide with sumo for me, but it
Mhm.
still wasn't as good or as natural. And I was always having kind of like groin issues from squatting and stuff, anyways. So anything that added more to that was a no go for us.
Yeah, I just remember that, like, took the took the internet by storm for all of like 3 months.
I mean, I think most people couldn't manage it well.
Well, it can just be so awkward, and whenever there's not a whole lot of information easily out there, like there are people listening to us going, "What the hell are they talking about?" And they're googling it. The benefit was supposed to be like, "Oh, it's a little less pressure on your lower back compared to sumo, more compared to conventional." It's supposed to be like a sweet spot for some people, but anyways, that was my side rant. Uh, Final one.
So we already had the final one.
No,
No,
no, you still got number two.
Okay.
you still got to poop.
Final one is hip thrusts.
I wondered if that was going to be in there.
That fits well. I'm very happy with how my list turned out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I probably would switch Bulgarians with sumos on mine if I could mulligan, but
Solid.
yeah, I'm good with that.
Nope, your entire life has to change now, Phil.
Son of a bitch.
That's it. Hip thrust is another one of those that people will feel funky with.
Mhm.
I find normally because they don't get the right height on the bench for their back. Normally, they're either trying to do it on something that's too low or just a little bit too high where it puts them out of position and they can't actually get closer to like parallel.
Yeah. Well, because most people have to just use the bench at the gym, which is just not ideal depending on their height.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing. I like telling people to use the step up boxes and just use that, build it to the right height where it's close enough and where you can get to parallel essentially. And it's not putting you in that weird position where
Yeah.
it's all like quads or all hamstrings.
Yeah. I like the scoop method for myself, preferably too, just for my lower back.
I'm also a scooper.
Scuba.
I am.
Scuba.
Yep. Yep.
So scoop method, by the way, is where like you think of keeping, you kind of tuck your chin and think of keeping the movement from like your sternum, your chest bone down, and then really just kind of like pulling the hips up and extending through there. Versus the other method is where like you get a lot more whole body movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, more hinge. So
Yeah.
that's the bench height is probably the biggest one if we're talking about barbell hip thrust. And that's why the number one accessory I recommend for people on glute day is those like thicker foam pads. And if you just buy a big one and you cut it in half, now it's going to serve a couple of different purposes. Number one, for like abduction and adduction machines, it kind of fills a little bit of that gap so you can actually start getting some resistance a little bit sooner. Because on a lot of those machines, it's going to be like no resistance for the first couple of inches that you're going through the movement. But then also, if you're doing the barbell hip thrust, now you can stack those on top of each other, and you can kind of have like a, you know, like a wedge to be able to just kind of lift you up a little bit. It's it's like a spacer essentially. So that way you
Yeah.
can more comfortably get into the position that you need to for your shoulder blades to be resting just on top of the edge of that bench. Now I do like the machine hip thrust a lot better because one, everyone's going to report that it's just more comfortable compared to barbell. It's easier to set
A
up.
little less quicker.
It's a lot quicker setup. And I feel like for a lot of people, it's going to be easier to just know, hey, I need to just play around with my foot placement, either higher, lower, inner, outer, to be able to get the glute activation. Now, if you're somebody who responds really well, more so to the scoop method, you feel more glute activation, then machine's not going to really be able to get quite the same range on the scoop, if that makes sense, is
Yeah.
what I found.
Well, I'll say this. I think the machines can be difficult for women that are on the shorter height because they're not all made to fit the same people. Like, you guys probably both know there was that one at Iron Religion. They had that one fucking hip thrust machine. It was like so awkwardly. It's like if you were tall, I'm talking like 5'7" or higher, then you could use it. But if you were under 5'7", it just didn't fucking work for you. And so, like, because now there's a bunch of different companies doing them. It didn't used to be the
Yeah.
case. It used to only be a couple.
And some of the backs move on them. The one I use at Planet Fitness, when I start to hinge, the back moves and the strap over you or whatever. So I think that makes a difference as well.
Yeah, and there's no perfect gym unless you have all the money and can make your own.
Now, I will. Have you guys seen the Gluteator?
No. Who was in that? I know Pedro Pascal was in Gladiator too.
Hey, for the Gluteator, we'd have to have Ryan Reynolds in it, okay?
Yeah, so I had to Google it real quick just because no gym in my small town, this area, has these. But yes, I am very interested to try this machine. I've never tried one before.
So for those who aren't Googling it, it combines your hip thrust with a little bit of abduction as well. So that right there has been something that I've gone to 2 gyms that have had it and absolutely love it. That's my all-time favorite personally for actual glute activation, glute engagement.
Yeah, I would.
Oh yeah, because it's kind of blending like normally what you have to do 2 movements for, right?
Mhm.
Because normally we'll say if we go with Brett, like it's like horizontal, the 3 planes, right, of movement. So it kind of pulls 2 into 1 for that movement. Because now like a squat would be vertical, like hip thrust would be horizontal, and then you would have to do something like a kind of like an abduction or a 45-degree kickback or something like that to get like glute mid, glute minor to get the bubbliness of that upper butt going. You got to work that upper butt there. But like that machine kind of melds that in a little bit more between the hip thrust and like an abduction kind of movement, which is, especially if you don't have a lot of time, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Good old Alibaba, just saying.
Yeah. I don't trust Alibaba.
I have a hip abduction machine, abductor. It's a cheaper one. It still wasn't like super cheap, but it was cheaper. And my range, when you said the phone, like I need to do that because my range of motion is very limited on this machine compared to like a standard gym. Well, we've already paid for it and he already took hours putting it together. So we just have kept it.
The
Yeah,
first like 4 or 5 inches is just absolutely like no resistance
Nothingness.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to
I
do
know
real
that life
short
too well.
spurts at the end for burnout. What'd you say, Phil?
So what we're talking about is you put essentially extra padding between your leg and the pad for the abduction so that your legs are closer together where it's getting resistance instead of having kind of them open up a bit more before you're
Where do
actually
you
getting
get those at? Out of curiosity.
Amazon. I'll send you a link.
That makes sense. Yeah, do that. Because I really do. And they're usually like blue, aren't they?
Blue or pink. So you do have colors.
I've tried to stick my yoga blocks in there before, but it's just not right. It doesn't.
But I also like curtsy lunges. I like side lunges sometimes for people. I'll do a ton of even like pretend like you're inside a double pane window, abduction on cables where you just have to kind of kick your leg out to the side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of ways around that. And you could do that with bands. You could do that with like ankle weights and stuff. So there's a lot of other things that you can do without
Monster
missing.
walks with a band. They'll get me.
And then, yeah, you can also add bands to everything too. Like you can add a hip circle to your hip thrust, and that can kind of mimic that gluteator kind of vibe there to some degree too. So that there are other things that you can do to kind of mix it up for your glute training. And obviously, like things like squats or deadlifts and that kind of stuff will also be good for training the legs otherwise as well, like quads and hamstrings and stuff too. Same thing with Bulgarians can do that. Lunges are going to do that. So I feel like a lot of the stuff that trains glutes also is involving other parts of your musculature for the legs too, which is something that I think people just need to be aware of so that they're not overdoing it. As I think a lot of people, they try to do so much that it just kind of gets junky. And so there's not quality to the lift in terms of having the proximity to failure, getting a heavy enough load on there, and actually facilitating good, I think, growth there. But I mean, what do I know?
What do you know?
Mr. Smart Guy. Speaking
You
of
can't even
that, do
see
you
it now.
remember that show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember that show.
You don't remember Smart Guy? Oh, man.
Wasn't my thing. But I mean, so the training thing is weird to me because the truth of training is that it's not sexy, right? It's not this like super crazy exciting thing all the time. Like good training is fairly boring. You have enough kind of movement around on different exercise choices or modalities just to keep yourself invested in it. But like you're not going to change from doing squats to doing fucking calf raises. It's not the same thing. It's not training the same muscles. It has to be close enough to that movement. You can change a squat out for a leg press, but if you don't do squats for a long time, you're not going to be able to handle the bar on your back, right? So you have to have something like a front squat or a goblet squat or something else to keep that movement pattern in.
I think
And
oh, sorry.
no, go for it, bro.
I was gonna the longer you've trained, the more boring your training will get to. And boring in the sense of if you're training first, especially like sports specific in terms of like, bikini or figure or whatever it is, it's gonna get a lot more bland because for example, 5 years in, you should know your top activation exercises. Like there's going to be exercises where where you're just changing tempo or reps or whatever it is. Cause I have a client who she was one spot from her pro card and she's in her off season now. And we've gotten very dialed in where when she gets a new training program, I'm pretty much changing tempo and a few things because we have nailed down her form and what works really well for her. So I'm not going to sub something in that she's already told me, hey, I don't get as good of activation on that. There'd be no reward for her to do that.
See, and I get shit about this. I do not program tempo. Ever. Never.
I only do for a more skilled lifter because I don't want to overwhelm somebody. I think it takes an experienced lifter to really nail down tempo or to even want to deal with it. People who are lifestyle lifting, a lot of them are going to skip past the tempo and not care to really focus in on that.
So I don't find that the evidence is strong enough to facilitate for me the usage of it. So like I want people to control the weight. Don't just fucking drop it. Don't just do anything crazy. But if you controlling the weight is a 2-second eccentric or down versus a 4 or 5-second, it makes no difference to me.
Yeah, I think sometimes because I've noticed, I'm sure you guys, when you get a form video, especially if they're a newer client or lifter, how fast they'll go. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, form is great, but you gotta slow that down. Like you're like, how fast can I do these reps? But yeah, I only have a couple clients where I get real specific on tempo, and it's because we're really trying to like hone in on everything.
So
I'm a liar. So I do use it very, 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 very rarely. And then Phil, I swear to God, I'll shut up. He's like chomping. I can see it. But it'll be on things like eccentrics, so like say tendonitis, and like just do 5-second eccentrics on every lift, and do because that might be able to help. Or things where they really do need to work on control and form, but that's normally going to be something like a face pull with external rotation. And so I want you to really control the tempo of it so that you're actually using the right muscles instead of going too fast and just kind of cheating it, and then it kind of defeats the purpose of the exercise altogether.
yeah, I think for me with tempo, it really comes down to one, the individual, two, what is the intention behind giving them a tempo assignment?
Yeah.
Like if I just said to everybody, okay, tempo 2-2-2-2, so everybody would
Ballerina
just go,
tempo?
what's that?
Ballerina tempo.
If I just said that to everybody, there would just be, okay, go slow would be the feedback they would get. So I can simplify the process instead of potentially confusing somebody with giving them a tempo assignment. Just say, hey, go slow on these. Now, there are people where maybe they've got a limited selection of equipment, because I work with a lot of people that have home gyms. If you've got limited equipment and you're at a point, like let's say lateral raises, it can be really hard to go from 20 pounds to 25 pounds, or even going from 10 to 15. You're talking about a 50% increase. So rather than trying to change up someone's rep scheme for progressive overload, I might say, hey, let's just really, really focus here on let's get a nice solid pause at the top, like 1.5 pause, and then let's lower for like a 3 count. It's going to just get a little bit more into that muscle. Because what I found was whenever I bought the magnetic add-on weights for a set of 5 pounds, because they're 1.25 pounds each, for a set, it's like $90. So if you're trying to get on 2 dumbbells, that's like $180 for
Oh,
10 pounds worth of weight.
I'm gonna fix this for you. Just buy some fucking magnets and get ones that are big enough to where they're close at like it's a pound of magnet. And you can like look at it by shipping weight and stuff. Just buy regular magnets.
Look at me being a sucker for snowed.
I got you, dude. I live that poor life, bro. Fucking let's go. I'll use fucking kitchen magnets. Let's go.
Now I want to. What's
we're gonna
the
see training video of Steven one day, and there's just a bunch of like magnets on everything.
Yeah, but then Magneto's going to come in one day and fuck your shit up.
What the fuck is
Yo, if Magneto's how I go, let it be.
who's
Let it
Magneto?
happen.
Nerd stuff, Kaylee. Nerd stuff.
Get me out of this.
So I like tempo also for very specific exercises. So like one that we talked about, the step up. I will specifically put like, yo, I want you to attempt to have a 3-second lowering to make sure that you're controlling it. Attempt to have like a 2 to 3 second raise. That way you are making sure you're not pushing off with that back leg. Because if you're pushing off that back leg, it's going to be like 1 second, you're standing on top. So it really just depends movement. It depends on the individual. Like Stephen was saying, there's some people with some injury considerations where we really want to make sure that they're mindful of tempo, specific parts of different movements. So I don't think that it's the end all be all. I don't think that it's the make or break for anyone. It's not like your client, one spot away from her pro card. It's not like changing the tempo on her squats is going to be the difference between a pro card and runner up.
I don't think you've heard the internet's opinion on that, Phil. And shit. Let me tell you, the amount of bullshit intricacies that people in our industry will try to tell you matter, and that you're somehow doing wrong, and they're going to fix for you, and it's going to make all the difference in your life.
Oh my
I know.
gosh.
I feel like nutrition's the same, where it's like nobody's even hardly like people aren't even picking good foods and sticking to the macros, but they think if they do XYZ, that's the secret sauce. Like, not that you should just be healthier, maybe in general.
Right. Eat less processed shit, eat more whole foods. What do we know? There's only multiple studies that will show, hey, less processed foods, typically
They'll
better
drink
body
apple cider
composition,
vinegar first.
preventable diseases occur. The other one that I find though is like people really fucking overcomplicate their recovery too. Like
This leads into the question I was going to ask you next for you guys is like, how has your training changed as you've gotten older? Like, we're all in our 30s, right?
I've slowed way the fuck down.
Yep.
Yeah, because, and I know I'm cutting probably ahead of you on this, but like all the fucking extra recovery bullshit, like I have to do all this stretching, I have to do all this foam rolling, I have to do all this massage, I have to do all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, I fucking never have to do any of that shit. I still don't do that stuff. But
I definitely
like,
warm up.
Yeah, I warm up, but I don't stretch. I don't do all this activation stuff. If I want to squat, my activation stuff is I squat with body weight and less weight and work up into it.
I am big on like I use the PVC pipe to warm up every single training, but I started before I got into bodybuilding style training. I did CrossFit, and that's just what they do. And it just became routine. And so I actually have because in Trainer Eyes, you can like link, I have a PVC warm up one that I put in client stuff sometimes. And I foam roll after, but it's more because I'm obsessed with cracking my back. And every time I foam roll, it'll pop my back up my spine. And I just like that. So I foam roll more it's just habit. And I love to, like, after a good lift, to feel my back crack. Yeah.
I think for me, my warm up is still very similar to what Steven just said. If I'm doing, I don't do squats because of my knee, but like my bench press, I will start off with like, hey, let's just do the bar.
Yeah.
45 pounds, couple reps. Okay, let's do 135. Okay, let's now do like 185. Okay, now let's do some push ups because I'm about 200 pounds. Let's do some push ups there. Slight change up. All right, now let's start getting closer to some of my working sets. If I'm doing like lower body, the monster walks are like my favorite thing to do. I like doing just body weight squats. I like doing some body weight Bulgarians. But the only other thing that I really throw in consistently for warm up is just a little bit of some stuff from yoga. So like child's pose, cat to cow, cobra. So like I'll do cobra push ups on like an upper body day. And then as far as like recovery, my recovery is super, super simple. If it's an upper body day or upper or lower, pretty much anything besides shoulders or arm day, because basic ass bro over here, I'll do a dead hang. Love doing dead hangs. Same thing. I just feel that crack from the decompression. I do that and I get in a hot tub 3 times a week. That's my complicated recovery.
Yeah. I
I
mean, I
don't
take
have
a hot bath
tub,
every
for
night.
sure.
It probably is hot as a hot tub. The way my
I do like
husband
the
said.
Epsom salt bath, the hot bath. But
Yeah.
so my thinking is, I haven't really had any big injuries or things that I guess, yeah, I have a new ACL, but I haven't had like big lifting injuries that have fucked me up in terms of I have to do specific stuff to get something loose enough or warmed up enough to actually get into doing my exercises safely. If that's you, then yes, you should have a bit more of a warm up and you should definitely take that seriously. You already know what you need to do there. I think for me, the recovery stuff is what gets fucking out of hand for people because like, oh, well, I can't feel recovered, quote unquote, unless I do the cryo or unless I do the, I do like the leg sleeve things that do the compression and kind of help get some of the blood out of your
I
legs.
have a pair of those in my house.
So those I like after a leg day just because it saves me from having to, maybe I just want to be lazy and I don't want to get on the treadmill to help with that Venus return kind of stuff. But if I have to foam roll and do all the stuff where I can't do my thing, I have to do XYZ for recovery. For me, what that says is that we're just fucking probably doing way too much or doing too much, which is what one of the changes as you get older, you kind of have to back off to some degree, right? Because you can't keep up with the same volume and energy demands and time, all the rest of the stuff. Like you probably need to look at what does your actual exercise intensity and volume and routine look like to where you're having to spend all this extra time and money on extra recovery stuff.
Yeah, because like a power lifter, competitive power, they're going to need some recovery. Like it depends on what you're putting, because it's rare, not that I don't train hard, but there's some training days where I'm like, ooh, like I have one of those big massage chair things where I'm like, I better sit in that for, whatever. But what, Phil?
I love that you have the commercial one.
Okay, you want to know why I have that? Besides being spoiled, when I was
'Cause you
pregnant with
bougie as
Pearl,
fuck?
I wanted one so bad, but we were so poor. We could not afford one. But we sat in one at Brookstone, and I was like, oh, wouldn't this be amazing? I'm pregnant, and we just couldn't make it work. So when I got pregnant with Henry, to surprise me, Jake had one shipped to the house because he remembered how much I just really wanted one, and we just couldn't afford it. And so it was one of those things where, like, is it obnoxious and something I needed? No. But I think it was his way of being like, first pregnancy, we couldn't afford it. So this pregnancy, here you go.
And this is how you stay married.
Yep.
Happy wife, happy life.
I don't even it's a separate thing. I don't even think it's necessarily like the fucking crazy massage chair. It's knowing like that you're appreciated. It's being shown not just through words here and there, but through actions that you're appreciated and you're important and the things that you're going through for the family
Yeah,
whether
and
that
I think too,
yeah.
as a man, I don't know because I'm not, but I think it was like he probably really wanted to the first pregnancy and just couldn't. So for him, it meant a lot to be like, now I can get this for my wife. You know what I mean? I think it was like
Right, right. It's
a
that
big
sense of
thing for him.
accomplishment and like, hey, I can do this now. And oh, look, I remembered this, years later.
Yeah,
But
7 years later.
like, do we blame Huberman for the recovery stuff? Because I didn't fucking hear about ice baths and fucking all the other like that's from my experience, my whatever. That's kind of where that stuff really started taking off
Yeah, I
more.
mean, because I have some people that will ask, like, if a client wants to do whatever they want to do, if they like cryo, if they like red light therapy, whatever it is. But I have some that are like, hey, I'm not gonna like. I have a client who does like cryo, red light therapy, sauna. Like, she's got this whole list of things, and when
Mhm.
something throws off and she can't do it, she's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. So I'm like, you don't even have to be doing all that. It's just something you like to do, and I'm okay with you doing it. I mean, I had to pull some of that out during like her peak weeks and stuff because getting a deep tissue massage a few days before your show is not ideal.
No. And I think some of the recovery stuff almost bleeds into stress management for people
Yeah.
and just giving themselves like peace of mind, some degree of extra self-care.
Yeah, and
So
just taking care of yourself. We're very
just
health-centered right now as a
it all
population.
for me, like as a coach, it all
Are
goes
we?
back to what is the intention? What's the intention of what you're doing? Are you doing the ice bath because you like it, because it's building your resilience, it's building your mental toughness? If that's why you're doing it, then okay, cool. But at the same time, if you're doing it because you think it's helping you with more muscle growth, well, there's studies that show it's actually the opposite effect. If you're doing the sauna blanket because, well, hey, I relax, I feel a little bit better about my recovery for it. I sit down, I read a book.
Those
Okay,
just feel nice.
yeah, like I don't have a
I
problem
have a
with
sauna
it.
blanket, like a sleeping bag that you get in.
Right.
I
But
just do the bubble bath.
if bubble bath,
Bubble bath. Mama, Henry, mama, bubble bath. They'll say bubbles, mama, bubbles.
like if you're doing the sauna because you blanket because you're like, oh, this is going to help me with cellulite, like, okay, well,
I wish it did. I'd live in it. I'd never take it off.
But that's different, I think. And so it is a good delineation. If it makes you feel better, if it, some of those things may create more stress. But if you're so effed up that you're paying attention to all these things, but you're not paying attention to your sleep, but you're not paying attention to your actual exercise sessions and how those feel and how you feel afterwards immediately and that kind of stuff. You're not paying attention to getting enough like high quality food sources. If you're not paying enough attention to getting enough protein, if you never take a day off, like you fucking
You
put the
don't
cart
deload
before the
ever.
horse.
yeah.
And that's what I feel like happens. People, it's weird to say like you should earn that stuff, but that stuff should be towards the end of the list. It shouldn't be the beginning of the list and right at the top.
Yeah, I see those things as more of like a treat, right? So like when I go to get a massage, it's not for recovery, it's because I just want to feel relaxed and just treat myself. Like that's why I go to get a massage.
I want to feel like the Greek guy eating fucking grapes in the sun. That's why I go to get a massage,
I
which is
know.
why I never go
What
to get a
makes
massage.
sense, I fall asleep almost every time, and then that it's over, I'm like, I missed like half of it. Makes me
See, I
so
don't
Oh,
I don't relax during a massage. Like I don't like people touching me. So if I'm getting a massage, I'm doing like the beat the shit out of you, like neuromuscular, like super deep. If I'm doing a massage, it's because there is something that I'm like, yo, this is kind of fucked up feeling. Like
Did I
whenever
don't really have time, but I ever tell you guys the really nasty massage I got one time?
it's
no. But I'm with Phil. If I'm doing a massage, it's like a deep tissue sports massage, and
Yeah.
that shit is not fucking fun. But that's a good ending probably for you to tell us something fucked up.
Okay, so fucked up. So Jake and I were in the mall one time, and they had these walk-in massage in a mall, because what's not sketchy about that? And he's like, hey, you want to stop in here and get a quick 30-minute massage together? Let's do it. So we go in. Do you have available for two? Yeah. So there's a lady and a man. So I said, well, you can have the lady, just assuming, because this guy was like a big, hairy dude. And so I was like, I'll take the dude. So we're side by side in this room, and this guy starts to massage me. Because I was in the mall, you kept your pants on, so I just had my sports bra on and my shorts. And he, like, I'm on my stomach looking down through that hole, and this guy starts massaging me, but then he just starts shoving his hands down my pants, massaging my butt cheeks. But he's so hairy that when he does that, he bends over all of his body hair is rubbing on my bare skin, but he's also sweaty. So I'm just staring down into this hole while my head, he was doing it sensitive aggressive. My head was hitting his belt buckle. So like the top of my head is hitting his belt buckle like it's a headboard. And he just keeps like he'll massage and then just shove his hands down, massage my butt cheeks. His arm hair is like a carpet. He's rubbing it on me. Like I feel the most disgusted and I can feel his sweat like dripping on me. And I'm like, get me out of this fucking situation. So the massage is over. We both sit up. I look at Jake. He's like, how was it? He's like fucking thrilled, right? Because he just had the best massage. And I'm like, I look at him. I said, don't you dare fucking tip. And he was like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm not okay. I want to leave here immediately. Like, I was like so distressed because I had just been like, I felt like I was violated, right? Because like his hairy, sweaty, like, and then he had paper towels and he kept trying to wipe the sweat off him. Because at one point I saw a sweaty paper towel drop below the hole and I can see it on the ground, like his sweaty paper towel where he had tried to like clean.
That was your souvenir. That was your take home.
Yeah. So needless to say, I will never get a mall massage again.
I'm just
I mean, you
picturing.
should have known.
Do you remember that? Have you seen the movie Along Came Polly with Ben Stiller and
Yes.
Jennifer Aniston?
Yes.
The scene where the big hairy guy and him are playing basketball and like his belly rubs.
Exactly like that. Only add in the belt buckle just tapping your head the whole time. And you're just like, it's like a scary movie where I just remember like my head's moving. I just remember I keep watching the floor like, is it over yet? Is this whole situation over yet?
Some people pay extra for that. I hope you realize that. That's like the piece de resistance.
I have never, it was an experience.
Hey, we don't kink shame, okay?
We don't.
No, I absolutely kink shame. Some of your kinks you should be ashamed of. You guys are fucking monsters. Bring back shame 2020. What fuck? Something. All right. So as usual, like, follow, subscribe, whatever the fuck it is for this stuff. Drop comments if you have questions or ideas.
Complaints, send to Stephen Beaugrand.
I will ignore them. I
will send them over to Stephen.
Yeah, send them to Kayla. She'll enjoy that. And we'll talk to you guys soon.